Did you just say you haven't seen these films? Have you been living under a rock, my friend? No, we're going to watch these right now, and lucky us, it's only 3 hours and 5 minutes to finish both, so clear your schedule. Fact number 1, you are going to love this film. Fact number 2, if you do not like this film, then, my friend, you don't know anything about film at all. Do you know anything about the backstory or the lore? Oh boy. Okay, well, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't spend 45 minutes explaining. Okay, your funeral, my friend, but be warned, this isn't that other crap you watch. It isn't diluted and uninspired like The Avengers or James Bond. It actually has substance and wit. Now we find ourselves in New Jersey, and Paul Blart must save the day.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, February 4th. I'm J.E. Skeets, rolling this morning with the Bassmaster, ripping them lips, Trey Kirby.
Hey,
Hey,
yo.
Oh, we got the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Leigh Ellis.
Friends.
Mm.
Hello.
My friends. And last but not least, making the magic happen, continuing to bring the fire with the cold opens, it's JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. You got to stop making this so funny. I can barely collect say good morning, sweet world. I was like dying over here watching that. God, that was one of my favorites.
I watched it 50 times, dying every time. Shout out to Dylan Poat or Pote. I don't know how you say his last name. He sent that to me on Instagram. Keep them coming, people, because it's the best part.
That one was great. Okay, guys, shout out to the stream team joining us live on YouTube right now. Like, comment, subscribe. We're about 1,000 subs away from the 30K mark. Let's do it. Let's do it by the weekend at least. Let's get there.
Let's do it tonight.
Sure.
Let's do it tonight, Skeetsy.
Hey, I'm on board. Email us your questions and comments for the next Beach Steppin podcast. NoDunks@theathletic.com. Best way to get them in front of us. Got to email them in. We hit the beach yesterday to share cool story bro after cool story bro. So go check out yesterday's Beach Steppin podcast. As always, a lot of fun. The merch is hot and available over at nodunks.com. You guys know that, so go grab yourself a No Dunks hoodie or a t-shirt or some shorts or a mug. And yeah, we might hit 30K tonight, Trey, because the NBA Happy Hour is back. Oh yeah, NBA Happy Hour watch party. We're going to fire up the live stream around halftime of the Warriors-Mavericks game on TNT. We might have a special guest in store tonight as well. So if you were on the fence about whether you're going to join us live tonight, I suggest you do. Again, around halftime of the Warriors-Mavericks game, we'll tweet this out and we'll obviously tell you on Facebook. And if you hit that little notification button on YouTube, you're just going to know when we go live. So there you go. Can't wait.
Stephen Curry, if it's halftime, he can jump on from the locker room.
Well, maybe it depends what type of game he's having in the first half. If he's having a bad one, he might want to jump on. You know, we can motivate him a little bit. Didn't Bogut say that? He was caught like checking his phone a lot of the times at half if he had a bad first half.
That's right, yeah.
He would come out and shut up the haters, the doubters. So, yeah, special guest. I don't want to lock it in, but even some of these guys here on this call this morning don't even know who I'm talking about. So it could be fun. All right, today we're starting with a little true or false. Yes, true or false, gentlemen. Thought we'd add a little twist to it. So first one, we start in Sacramento, where don't look now. The Kings have won 5 of 6. My goodness. De'Aaron Fox, 26 points, 11 assists. Buddy Hield, 2 late free throws to sort of seal the deal there. Sacktown, hold off the shorthanded Celtics, 116-111 on Wednesday night. Trey, true or false? I'm getting too excited about the Kings again. I'm back, baby, on the Kings bandwagon.
Skeets is back. Of course this is true. The Kings have won a whopping 2 straight games.
Yep.
And J.E. Skeets is shoehorning in not just 1, but 2 Sacramento Kings questions to kick off the show. Insane stuff. But honestly, a really nice win last night for Sacramento over the Celtics. No Kemba for the Celtics. Yes, Jalen. Yes, Jason. So that's a nice win. And the Kings got to win. It feels like the way they've got to win every single time this season. They kept it close. Then in the fourth quarter, it was De'Aaron Fox, it was Harrison Barnes, it was Rashawn Holmes, and it was Tyrese Haliburton. My favorite law firm, Fox, Barnes, Holmes, and Haliburton, just making plays down the stretch. They're down 5 with about 6 minutes left. Harrison Barnes keeps getting to the line. Fox is just able to make every kind of play that is necessary for this Sacramento team. Holmes is hitting the glass. You got a curtains Haliburton moment again. Fun stuff for the Kings. And like you're saying, Skeets, it's not just 2 games in a row. It's 5 out of 6, all the way up to 10 and 11. That's the thing, Skeets. You got to bird box this. Do not look at the Kings. They've still got the worst defense in the league. And I went back and I checked all of the schedules and results on Basketball Reference for the past 5 seasons. Literally every season, the Kings have a stretch where they win 5 out of 6. Every season, you might have noticed that the Kings have not been in the playoffs for 500 years. So I don't know, Skeets. You may be jinxing them by leading the show right here. You might have done it.
Oh, I told you. I said if I start doing it again, shoot me down. Don't let me do it. So I like that you're putting me in my place here. But Fox, you're right. I mean, special again in this one. He's averaging 28 points per game over his last 8 contests, Leigh. And in the fourth quarter, like Trey said, is taking over and really just has been dominant over these last couple of games. I think he's, like 15, 16, 17 points it feels like every time here in the fourth quarter. So where are you with the Sacramento Kings? Like, forget about it. Just leave them right now. Don't even pay attention to them, like Trey said. It's like the weird ghost in Super Mario Brothers. Like don't turn, don't turn
look
back
at
and look at it. Yeah, just leave it. And you'll be fine. It won't really do that much damage. Like, what do you think?
Well, I think there is some substance to it because no, because last night, as Trey mentioned, there was no Kemba and no Marcus Smart, but they still had their 2 best players, the Celtics. They had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and Tatum missed a 3 at the buzzer there, which could have extended the game to overtime. So maybe they got away with a little one last night, but that's a good win. Any win really for the Kings is great, is important, because they do have a terrible defense and they still give up a ton of points. But if you can outscore your opponents, obviously you win those games, and the Kings just need to get any sort of confidence, any sort of momentum going, because if you look at their schedule coming up, they've got 3 pretty tough ones in a row here. They've got the Nuggets, they're at home against the Nuggets, then they go to the LA to face the Clippers, and then they come back home for 5 in a row, actually, starting with the Philadelphia 76ers, and then they've got some winnable ones after that. Memphis is in there, Miami, Chicago's in there as well, but they've also got the Brooklyn Nets. So they've got a tough stretch coming up here, which will again show us a little bit more about whether or not this team is improving, has turned somewhat of a corner, or if it's just like it is in the NBA when you play so many games, so many teams are on back-to-backs, especially this season, that any team can beat any team on any given night. But I think it's just it's good to see, especially De'Aaron Fox, I think, and Tom Ziller had it in his newsletter this morning. Probably not going to make the All-Star team just because it's deep at that position, but he's certainly making a case for himself, and he's still got time here. So if he can continue this great play, especially his fourth quarters, where he's been fantastic, it's going to make it, he's going to be in that conversation. I think, it's going to be one of those situations like you got to do it for a year or two, especially if you're in Sacramento there for Fox. But good for the Kings, because they look like an absolute disaster there for a while again. Earlier this season, and it was like, man, Luke Walton might be fired. They just can't stop anyone. They're giving up 150,000 points every game. They've improved somewhat in that area, but I enjoy watching this team play when they're playing well. I mean, they're a fun team, and Fox is a good player to watch, and it's just good to see the Kings not be disgusting for the entire season.
Yes, it is. Let's just table this, though. If the Kings somehow miraculously beat the Nuggets, Clippers, and 76ers in their next 3 games, then fair. Then we'll get very, very excited. But I think we have the perfect sort of excitement surrounding them right now. Good wins. Again, Celtics missing some guys there. Their backcourt is like, hey, we got to go to Jeff Teague. That's never a good sign, right?
But, that game was close enough that the Celtics could have pulled it out.
Well, look, if Jason Williams doesn't do the old pump fake in the corner, maybe he splashes that 3. What a play by Grant Williams.
White chocolate from the corner, Jason Williams.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Grant Williams plus Jason Tatum equals Jason Williams. I love it. If it was 55, maybe that goes down.
I was thinking of Grant Williams, with the unbelievable miss, the free throw miss, executed perfectly. Getting it back himself.
That was nice. That was nice.
Very, very nice. But Tatum, he sort of he threw a pump fake in there. I don't think he needed to, Leigh. It may have been a smoother shot. He may have had a better chance of knocking it out. But anyway, Kings get the win. Trey said it. We got a second Kings question here. This one's a lot more fun. True or false? Tyrese Haliburton is the clear-cut Rookie of the Year favorite, Leigh. And I ask you this because he had another good game last night, 21 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, a couple steals, heads-up plays left and right. And he was just named the Western Conference Rookie of the Month for December games and January games. They lumped those two together. So is Haliburton is he sort of running away this early with Rookie of the Year? True or false?
Oh, false. No way he's running away with it. No, he's been excellent. And maybe the biggest surprise, because this has been a very good draft class, a very good rookie class. But to say clear cut to me is like he's basically almost can't lose it from here. And I don't even think he's the favorite right now. I've got LaMelo Ball, who was the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month. Yep. Just announced there with Tyrese Haliburton. Haliburton last night was great, hitting those threes, had a very, very smart play at the end of the third quarter where the shot went up and he just ran in, caught it, and laid it off the backboard to give them a 2-pointer at the end of the quarter there. Yep. And he's great. Defensively, he's been good. He's making some plays for his team. But I think if there's anyone right now, it's LaMelo Ball, who's again not clear cut, because I don't think it's it's set in stone by any means. But he's been fantastic there for the Charlotte Hornets starting. Been great. Now, they lost last night. But if you want to go into the sort of geeky stats of it, we can do that. Why not? LaMelo Ball is second in scoring behind Anthony Edwards, who's also been very good. LaMelo Ball is second in rebounding behind James Wiseman, who has tailed off a little bit, got injured as well there, but he started off really well. And then LaMelo Ball is leading rookies in assists, and Tyrese Haliburton is coming in second there. So,
they're tied for win shares, both LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Haliburton. You want to get really geeky. That's where they're at the top of the leaderboard.
Well, LaMelo Ball is a minus 1.7 net rating. Tyrese is a minus 2.7. Oh. But listen, I think overall, again, there's some really, really good rookies in this class. And I just don't think, while I would have LaMelo's favorite from now, I still wouldn't be surprised if someone else was to come along and win the Rookie of the Year, which is great, which is really good for the NBA. So, no, I don't think he's clear-cut. I saw that in Zilla's article as well this morning, and I think he's a brilliant writer, but I disagree with him on that point.
You don't get to homer other people, especially about the Sacramento Kings, but Tom Ziller bigging up Tyrese Haliburton for Rookie of the Year. That's a certain case, because I think you can lock LaMelo in as Rookie of the Year, and I think you can lock Tyrese Haliburton in as the guy that the internet is going to say should win Rookie of the Year, because he's so much fun to watch out there. He looks already like he's going to be the next Andre Iguodala or the next Shane Battier, the next Al Horford, the guy that kind of puts your team together. Maybe he's not your superstar, but you have to have him out there because he's such an instrumental piece to making the offense look right, to making the defense look right, to making the right play every single time. But when you look at it, LaMelo, if you're talking just totals, he's almost at the top of points, rebounds, and assists. He was until just recently, and he's just now getting a chance to start. Haliburton's going to be in the guy in the Western Conference, I do think, but I think LaMelo is going to take home the Roy.
I think that's fair. I wanted to ask this question, though, off of that game last night. I think you guys got the right answer with this one, going false. Definitely clear cut. I mean, I was embellishing a little bit there. It might be tight. We'll see. But I got to point this out, Trey. You'll love this. So we do the rebound highlights, right? Big beef. Talk to me. We love it. That's sort of our thing. That's your thing. Then we talked about the sicko Zach Lowe and his closeout highlights. I mean, that's just next level. We're talking about rebound highlights. He's talking about closeouts. Well, how about this? House of Highlights. That's what they're called. Their YouTube channel. I saw this morning. They had a clip titled Tyrese Haliburton smartly fouls Williams to stop Brown getting a game-tying 3. We're talking about fouling up 3 highlights. So they are pushing, the love for Haliburton. Now they push the love for LaMelo Ball. Don't get me wrong, too. LaMelo Ball, looks at someone and bats an eye. They throw that up. But my God, Trey, a fouling up 3, that's too far. I love Tyrese Haliburton. I love the Kings. I was like, come on, guys. I mean, again, a smart play. Don't get me wrong. He's a rookie. Sure, good foul. We don't need to cut it and put it up.
Hey. I clicked. I watched it this morning. I had to see this foul. And honestly, not that impressive. I thought it was going to be like this guy pulls a foul out of nowhere, but it happened. And the Kings broadcast is like, I was wondering when somebody was going to do a foul like that. A 48-second clip of a guy fouling off of a dribble handoff. Incredible stuff. We're definitely going to be blasting out an exploding brain meme that goes from screen assist, rebound highlight, closeout highlight, smart foul. Smart crazy. I don't know. You gotta say though. I haven't checked the stats. I have not checked the stats, but I think Tyrese Haliburton has to be leading all rookies in smart fouls in the last minute of a game. Ridiculous stuff.
Well, let me check
of highlights. We built this house on fouling.
Let me check the hustle stats. Let me see if I can. Hustle leaders. Okay, let's see what's in the hustle leaders.
I mean, look, we're joking, but Haliburton is, like you said it, Trey. He already looks like a guy that's been in the league for 10 years. Like, you're like, this guy he's a rock. Like, man, paired with Fox too. And I know they're doing like the 3-guard thing with Buddy in there at times, and that's great. That's fine. Man, that's just a young, really talented, especially like offensively and defensively backcourt. Like, not to get too excited again about the Kings, but Haliburton's great. You got those hustle stats, my man? What do you got?
Well, I mean, I've got deflection.
You look up this shit sometimes and you don't even know what you're looking at. So why do you
I don't know what I'm looking at with hustle leaders, but I've got deflections per game. There's also deflections per 36 out there. Then there's deflections total. Oh my God. Loose balls recovered.
Have you never seen this before?
Yeah, I have, but I didn't know we were doing it by per 36s as well.
Okay, maybe it's a little much. All right. So we still think maybe LaMelo Ball ultimately wins Rookie of the Year, but I'm with you guys. Haliburton's going to make it very interesting, especially if the Kings, do continue to win games and maybe impress some people, and he's having an impact. That's for damn sure. All right, our next one here. Paul George drained 8 of 9 3-pointers last night, scored 36 as the Clippers ended a long road trip with the 121-99 victory over the Cavs. It was good timing for Paul George, whose name was all over NBA Twitter yesterday, because in a memorable section of his new book, veteran forward Jared Dudley explained why the Lakers took such exception to the Clippers last year, Paul George in particular, during the NBA bubble. Dudley wrote, "We think it's disrespectful for Paul George, who hasn't won, to put himself on the level of Bron and AD. This motivates us." Okay. This got back to Paul George. He was asked about these comments. He said, "God bless him. God bless you, Jared Dudley." God bless you, Jared Dudley. Is a good well done, Paul.
God bless you, Jared Dudley. Thank you for writing books.
Paul George continued, "I don't know what it is. Dudes love throwing my name and stuff." So the question here, the true or false question is, does Paul George demand our respect? A lot more than what he's given. And I'll sort of go first here. I actually don't know where I fall on this, if it's true or false. On one hand, I didn't know Dudley was writing a book. Did anybody know this? Like, it sort of came out of nowhere. I thought Ben Golliver had the NBA bubble exclusive, okay? And I know that book's coming out a little bit later. Shout out to Ben Golliver. But I guess Dudley found time to write one too. But it is weird, these comments, like why they're so upset with Paul George, especially slipping in the Anthony Davis, who, remember, at the time hadn't won anything before last year. He hadn't won a title. So it's like they were sort of, if you ask me, to be honest, like Paul George and AD were on a similar level in terms of their career. Now AD's got the title and he's hit some big shots, obviously, and has had some good playoff performances. But anyway, I don't know where to go with this one, Leigh. Like, I don't know if it's true or false. Like, I don't know. Has the internet gone so far, not just the internet, I guess other players, like with their sort of hatred to Paul George, that we need to veer back to like, okay, come on. This guy is an elite player. I mean, we're not saying he's LeBron or Kawhi, but he's like the next tier. Doesn't he belong in that one?
I mean, I think he's put it on a little bit himself by switching teams and talking a little trash. But
he's not the first one to switch teams in this league.
No, of course not. Of course not. Let me ask you this:
Can't be a stand-up guy like Anthony Davis,
right?
But would you say Paul George is a Hall of Famer right now? 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 4-time All-Defense. Rookie, most improved, blah blah blah.
I probably yes.
I'd say he's on the way to the Hall of Fame for sure. I think he's got enough time, and I think he's a star player. So in that sense, I think if you think he's a Hall of Famer, then he gets your respect. I think if you dismiss him and think no, he can't get to the Hall of Fame, even if he doesn't win a championship, then maybe you don't rate him that highly. But I think he's on that way. This guy suffered an awful, potentially almost career-ending injury, and bounced back and was very, very good. He was third in MVP voting, a season after that. So I think he does get it, but I think he's almost, he just sort of puts his foot in his mouth a few times and says some silly things and dumb things. But if the Clippers win the championship, not necessarily this season, but if they do it while he's there and he just signed that 5-year extension, then I think automatically that sort of vaults him into that category of like, okay, he's a legit star and he's lived up to that reputation. Because when he started out in Indiana, those first couple of seasons, he was awesome to watch. He had
he was like an internet darling too, like battling LeBron and gaining his respect. And then it's crazy how his career has like gone actually.
Yeah.
In terms of just his popularity taking a dive for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and he was like those Pacers teams really pushed the Heatles as well. So he was right there. But then he, like a lot of people, he sort of he demanded a trade. He kind of powdered his way out of Indiana, and then he sort of, what happened there in OKC? He was there for 2 seasons, and then he just said, "I want to go to LA," and so they traded him. I mean, again, I like that's so many other guys have done that sort of stuff. So now it's almost like, okay, this is what you wanted. This is what you asked for. You have to go out there and perform. And the fact that they lost after having a 3-1 lead against the Nuggets, I think people really like to pile on him for that because he wasn't very good in the bubble in the playoffs.
He's had some disappointing playoff performances. I mean, so are we at the point with him, Trey, where no matter what Paul George does in the regular season, no matter what Paul George says, like, hey, give me the respect. And again, we see some of these other players sort of like taking shots at him. It won't matter until he wins a title. Like, is that where we're at? Is he sort of hardened like in a weird way like that? Like, it's like, sorry, man, now you just have to win a title or no one's going to like love you again. What do you think?
I think that's totally it. I took a pledge this year. I'm not saying anything bad about Paul George, but if Jared Dudley wants to say it, God bless Jared Dudley. But I don't know. The thing with Paul George is he's an incredible player, right? Like, he really is. When you hear Leigh list off the accomplishments in his career, we know he's still in the prime of his career. He's going to be piling up the counting stats. He probably will go to the Hall of Fame, but all people want to do is see him take a little bit of accountability here. He takes 1 free throw against the Nets, and he's complaining, saying it's disrespectful. Maybe he had an excerpt from Jared Dudley's book, so he's playing the respect card early. Interesting. Now that this is coming out, I'm thinking some back channel book swapping was going down there. But in the same game, Kyrie Irving took 3 free throws. He scored a whole bunch of points. The last 2 of his free throws were a fouling situation. So he really only had 1 during the competitive portion of the game. We would just like to see Paul George lose a game and be like, yeah, I could have been a little bit better. That's all people want to do. So he should kind of just take a chill pill. He should wait until he wins a championship or at least makes it to the NBA Finals, and then write his own book, trashing all these other guys, saying, yeah, you were trash talking me. Look, now I'm on top of the world. Until that happens, though, people are not going to take it seriously. You can have 8 threes in a game on February 3rd, and it doesn't matter if you're not doing it on June 3rd.
Yeah, I think that's right. I can't wait to read this Dudley book, though, Leigh. I mean, again, he turned this around quickly. I got to give it to Duds.
Right, I'll wait for you to read it, and you can tell me what it's all about then.
It's only 42 pages, though.
Really?
It's a book?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a novella.
I think it's like a $2 Kindle thing.
All right. I wish I didn't call it a book. I should have done research. I didn't know that. Thank you for that fact check. That's not a book.
Everybody's calling it a book, but it's a 42-page book.
No,
so
that doesn't count.
Okay, I agree with you, but I'm just saying that
you're
saying that he turned it.
Book. Okay?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. Not that I'm not going to read this book either, but I mean, I'll read Gulliver's book, but I don't know, 42 pages. I guess it's a quick book to read. Well, might as well, right?
It's not a book, first off, but yeah, you can read it quickly. Yeah, it's a PDF you can sort of fly through for sure. Yeah. I'll give it a go. I didn't know that. I'm going to go.
I like it. It's 42 pages. If every book was 42 pages, I'd be reading on the reg.
42 pages. 40 of them are just ripping on Paul George.
This is my favorite book, actually. It's super short. It's all Paul George slander.
Yeah. Leigh, is your book over 42 pages?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's well over 42. It's about 42,000 at the moment.
You need an editor, do you? Are you looking for an editor?
I've got one. No, I'm working with one. Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Good for you, mate.
Yeah.
Have you slowed down right now? With
yes,
the season
I have because I have. It's difficult right now to find the time, but
right.
I've got lots. I've got lots in there anyway. It's fun. It's fun. But it's also it's really test your insecurities of yourself too when you're writing a book about yourself and your own journey. Like it feels like there are times you're writing things and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm putting this down. But I'm encouraged to put it all down and then we'll take out what we don't need. But it's like a self cleanse too. Sure. Like cleanse for the soul.
Like, what are you writing? The chicken soup over there?
Chicken soup for the 1987 All-Star Game lover's soul.
Yeah, I mean, it's things like that. It's
42,000 pages about free throws by Rolando Blackman.
Oh, yeah, but it is. I'm writing about that. I'm like, how many times do I need to reference back to that as another little point in my life where that became a factor and stuff? Like sometimes I'm like, oh, geez, Lee, you're boring me with that one. Just move on. Do something else, man. Watch another game.
Okay. Well, hey, look. God bless you, Lee Ellis.
Listen, I hope I do get to finish this, but it's a journey. I'll say that much. It's a journey.
People are excited. I'm telling you, I'm excited. Yeah. So continue. Please continue. Just get, like you said, get it all out of you. Just let it all out. Get it on the paper. Get it on the computer, and then let the editor go to work. That's why you got one. All right. Our next one here.
Real quick here, Skeets. I gotta say, God bless the stream team as well, because they're now calling Paul George PDFP. And I'm sorry. I love it. I'm loving it right now. You put out a 42-page digital book. Trash and Paul George, hilarious stuff. PDFP. That's a lock for me.
Yeah. This is I mean, I know every podcast is a classic from the No Dogs. This is a classic. We got to save this one. We're going to win some awards with this one, I'm telling you. All right, our next one. Let's talk highlights, baby. Just go right to it, JD. I want to show everybody on the stream team. True or false? Zion had Wednesday's best highlight. We are showing for the listeners Bledsoe throwing the one-handed oop to a skying Zion Williamson, who chucked it down with ease. Big win for the Pelicans, we should note as well. So true or false? That dunk that we just showed you on the stream team was the best highlight from Wednesday. What do you think, Trey?
Oh, come on, Skeets. This is big time true. Forget putting it on a poster.
Oh, no, don't do it.
Forget highlights. This was the NBA top shot of the night. I saw Zion skying for that oop, throwing down right-handed. Still feels like that should be his normal hand because you're used to seeing a right-handed oop. I saw it. I said, give me the top shot. I got to hop on Twitter, let Skeets know all about this because this is hilarious to me. That we were talking about Zion highlights coming into the year. We both start to dabble in an NBA Top Shot, and then Zion throws down a massive dunk in a huge game. He went 12 of 14 this game. Literally now you can buy stock in highlights, and Zion had a great one last night. I was loving it. The prices did not go up a whole bunch yet, but I can't wait until this drops in a pack. This is legendary status, a rare low serial number. Give me that mint.
Wow. If you have no idea what Trey's talking about right now, I don't know why I just turned into a smart lawyer there right now. We're going to talk about NBA Top Shot in the future. I don't even want to get started on this podcast right now, but we will either do its own podcast. I'm sure it'll come up in NBA Happy Hour tonight too. It's crazy what's going on out there. I can't wait to talk to Lee about it much. Like we're gonna blow my mind with this stuff. Anyway, Lee, it was a good dunk, very very good dunk. Trey says it was the best of the night. Do you agree? True or false?
False. The best play of the night came early. I had this one up. JD, roll it.
Hornets get it back. Here comes LaMelo Ball with his hair on fire. Miles! Wow!
Oh, that's a great call.
Oh, here comes LaMelo with his hair on fire.
Good line.
Eric Collins is awesome. He is such a perfect play-by-play guy to have for LaMelo and Miles Bridges out there because he does lose his mind so well on only of those plays. But yesterday we were talking on the beach about has LaMelo Ball already surpassed Jason Williams' White Chocolate for highlights? And I said, no question, he has not. It's far too early. But that to me was really much like a Jason Williams highlight, that behind the back in transition to throw it down to the guy who dunked again. Let's hear it one more time, JD.
Hornets get it back. Here comes LaMelo Ball with his hair on fire. Miles! Wow!
Oh, my.
Oh, baby!
Yeah, I mean, okay, the pass is fine. The dunk is better.
Yeah, but it's the combination. It's the flash. It's the flash of the behind the back in transition, and then Bridges just throwing down the windmill like that, and then Eric Collins. I mean, that was just so awesome to watch. I thought that was an incredible play, just a great moment. The Hornets have been so much more fun to watch this year, and partly because Eric Collins just like homerism, like there's no even denying it anymore between most of the play-by-play commentators. They're just like, they're cheerleaders. And if you can be great like Eric Collins, why not? It adds to the broadcast, if you ask me.
Of course. I mean, like Mark Jones on the Kings broadcast, like it gives some life to a broadcast. Like it's a better watch, when De'Aaron Fox, puts somebody on skates, or like, Haliburton makes a great play, like it, and they go nuts. Yeah, for sure.
He had a great line last night, Mark Jones did, off of a De'Aaron Fox pass. I think he's like, put a little sauce on it. I was watching the highlights this morning, and Ada was like, a little sauce on it? That's silly. I was like, oh yeah, you should have seen this pass, girl.
I wanted to bring this up because I'm happy here today. Trey, you're saying it was the best play of Wednesday night. That's fine. It was a nice dunk from Zion. But I couldn't believe it. The NBA's top 10 on their YouTube channel, they had that oop from Zion at number 7. Number 7. I actually thought it was low, but I had come into the season. You guys know by now, I was talking this whole thing. I had this weird hot take, put a little spice on it, about Zion being like overvalued. The highlights he had given us up to that point, I just thought the NBA was going a little too overboard. So I was very pleasantly surprised, almost shocked that they had it up that low. Because there were some other good dunks last night. That was a nice one, that transition you had there, Leigh. Porzingis had a dunk on Capella, which was pretty damn big, and the Mavericks big win over the Hawks. I just wanted to give a little love to this DeRozan dunk on, I think it was on Josh Okogie here. DeRozan is angry in this dunk. Now, it would have been great if Josh had jumped a little bit more to really block it. But holy crap, I love a good DeRozan dunk. He just hammers that, especially as a bit of a smaller guy. You're not like a giant power forward or something like that as a wing. Huge. And man, when it's all said and done, he's going to have a sick NBA mixtape. I mean, I'm sure it exists already. People are already cutting this stuff together. But I would pay $14 for that top shot, Leigh. Instantaneously. It could be
I have no idea what you're talking about with Top Shot, but I love it.
Yeah. You might like it, actually. You might get into it. So a big dunk, but Zion's probably better than that one. Let's hear from you guys with all these. Final one. We'll just keep it moving here. True or false? The Miami Heat are in trouble. And I'll ask you firstly, because Beal scored 32. Wizards rallied from a 13-point deficit to beat Miami 103-100 last night. And yeah, Jimmy Butler played, Bam played, Dragic played, Hero played. The loss drops Miami to, I think, 7-14 in the Eastern Conference. Are you concerned? Are they in trouble? True or false?
That was definitely a stinker, no doubt. Last night, the Wizards coming off a back-to-back too. Westbrook was sitting out, although sometimes they have played better without him. But they led this one big and blew it at the end. And yeah, you mentioned they had all their guys. The Heat. This is the one that I would have thought this is going to get the Heat back on track here. But real deal, Beal's too much for them down the stretch there. But no, I'm not worried about the Heat. I just believe we've seen so much of them in the past about their continuity, their players, their defense, their culture, Heat culture, that they will get back on track. And again, there's a couple of those teams ahead of them in the Eastern Conference, like the Knicks and like the Bulls and the Magic, who I think they're better than. So I think they will figure it out. But, that was one last night that certainly you would have backed. I think if that was our pick'em game, we would have all picked the Heat to win that one because
probably,
they're due for a win and they looked like they were getting it there last night, but came up short. But I have too much faith in Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley there to get it right. There's still plenty of time. Just in a little bit of a rut right now. And Jimmy Butler didn't look all that flash last night either. I thought he looked a little bit heavy in the legs, and he's probably going to take a few games to get his win back. So no real reason to worry too much about the Heat. But they're not a top 4 team. They're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. And as I said before, once you get to the playoffs, if they're all healthy, they're going to be tough against no matter who they match up with.
Okay, well, all eyes are on them, though, I think, now, Trey, because the Mavericks, they got the, that crucial, sort of stem the bleeding win versus the Hawks last night. They were on a losing streak, Dallas was. Well, okay, they got a good victory, Well, who's sort of a good team that's struggling now? I think it's the Heat. I think they're at the top of that sort of leaderboard, so I wonder if you're going to start seeing, more articles about them and what's going on, and are you pressing the panic button? Leigh says no, but what about you?
I'm with Leigh here, but I agree with you, Skeets. I think that now that Jimmy Butler is back, you lose a game against the Wizards, obviously people are going to start focusing on you, but it's still pretty early. It seems crazy. They're 7-14, pretty far under 500 right now. They're still just 3 games out of the 6th seed, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that some of the teams ahead of them, you look at the Cavs, their schedule's going to be getting a lot harder right now. The Knicks, the Bulls, I hate to say it, they could both fall off. They could easily both decide, Yeah, we're going to start moving some of these players who've been playing pretty well for picks here for something in the future, right? Like the Bulls could decide to pull out of the play-in tournament and move Thaddeus Young. The Knicks could do that with Julius Randle. The Cavs could do that with Andre Drummond. Those are all probably the smart team-building moves, in which case they probably get worse, and Miami is not going to stay a bottom 5 shooting team in the league for the entirety of the season. I don't think so. Now having Jimmy back, if these other teams fall off and if they get their three-point shot back, they turn it around a little bit. I do think it's been a problem that Goran Dragic doesn't get to the rim quite as easily so far, but if he's able to round himself into shape, if they're able to start putting pressure on the rim, that makes the three-point shots easier. The free throws will come back around for Jimmy Butler. We know that's a major point for him for efficient scoring. So I'm not super worried about the Heat. They've got the track record. And if anything, they seem like a team who could be actively trying to acquire people at the trade deadline. If it's Bradley Beal, maybe, or maybe even somebody else, because they're not a team that's going to be happy to be taking a step from the NBA Finals one season to out of the playoffs the next. So the Heat, to me, can only go up from here.
Okay. All right. Well, we got lots more still in today's show, but first, a quick word from our sponsors.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and for a lot of guys, that can mean added pressure to perform. But luckily, with Roman, you can relax and keep it super cash on V-Day. If you're dealing with ED, Roman's got you covered. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. One less thing you have to worry about on V-Day. For a limited time, you can get up to $35 off your first month of ED treatment. Order by February 10th for guaranteed delivery by Valentine's Day. Just go to GetRoman.com/NoDunks to get started. That's GetRoman.com/NoDunks.
All right. I teased a question that we were going to ask yesterday, but we were sort of running a little long. So I said, let's put it on the shelf. We'll come back to it. So let's go to it now. Let's hit the beach again. Why not? Yeah, we hit the beach yesterday. Go check that podcast out. You can also watch it on YouTube if you want to. But this one from Wilkerson abroad in Arabia. He says, hey, No Dunks. I've often thought that one of the issues that makes voting for MVP in the NBA so tough is that we don't have an Offensive Player of the Year award. I'm not saying the selection process would all of a sudden become as easy as raw carrots and hummus if we did have an OPOY, but I do think the process would become easier. All of a sudden, we would have an award that can recognize a brilliant offensive season without giving that player an MVP. This would then allow everyone to move away from certain candidates for MVP. If, for example, their team's success wasn't up to snuff, or if they happen to be a player who played no defense, cough, cough, Harden. Although Giannis won the MVP and DPOY last year, that's a bit of an outlier. Usually the players in line for DPOY aren't in contention for MVP. OPOY could be the same. I think this would allow everyone to focus on the great superstars of our league who are complete players. And this would hopefully allow the award to more frequently be given to the person who is, quote here, the best player in the world. Turnips, lava lamps, blossom. Again, that's from Wilkerson. The OPOY, I know Rachel Nichols has talked about this in the past from the Jump Tray. What's your take on this idea? Do you like it or no?
Well, I got a few thoughts on this. Deep in their hearts, everyone knows offense is more important than defense, which is why the MVP is pretty much the Offensive Player of the Year. David Aldridge had a great piece recently at The Athletic, to which you can subscribe at theathletic.com/NoDunks, explaining why defense-first players have a harder time getting paid in the NBA. And it's because scoring points is 100% the thing that matters the most, but I still love this idea. I would be willing to have this award named after me. I'm that big of a fan. And if you want to name it the Trey Kirby Offensive Player of the Year Award, I think it's great because I don't actually think that every single season would be the exact same as the MVP. Obviously, a lot of the times, the Offensive Player of the Year would likely win the MVP, but they do this in the NFL. They've given out 48 Offensive Player of the Year awards, but only 28 of those were also the MVP that season. It's probably going to be a little bit closer in basketball, but I don't think it'll be the exact same. You know, maybe 75% of the Offensive Player of the Year wins MVP or something like that. James Harden is a guy that you look at and say, obviously he would be stacking up OPO-wise, and people would be very happy to leave him off their MVP ballots if that were the case. So, yeah, I'm never against additional awards. It would be strange to do it this deep into the NBA's history and have it have the same kind of cachet that MVP and Defensive Player of the Year awards have. You know, the Twyman-Stokes Teamwork Award is still in its infancy, hasn't really taken off yet. But if you have something as big name as the OPOY, I think it would be a great idea.
Okay, Leigh, what do you think? I mean, your guy Bradley Beal might be in the running for OPOY this year, despite his team sucking.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have Defensive Player of the Year, so why not just scrap MVP and have Offensive Player of the Year then? Then it solves that.
You want to scrap MVP?
Well, then it solves that problem of like, well, what's valuable? Does he play both ends of the floor? Is he his team's best scorer? Does he lead the league in a category? Like, just scrap one of them, or just reword the MVP to just best player this season. Because
I think that's what Wilkerson is saying we would do if you made OPOY. We would sort of like look at MVP as best player in the world or in the league. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think. That's what I think, because we do get caught up in the wording of it, which is unnecessary. Just make it best player, best offensive player, and best defensive player, and then one guy's going to win all three one year for sure. Like Giannis. Maybe Giannis is going to win it last year, all three of them. So I don't know. I think it's these things. We always talk about this, and we had it on one of our beach stepping, I think, in the summer, where it was like, LeBron James should be an 11-time MVP because he's been the best player in the league pretty much every season he's been in the NBA. There's no question about that. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year probably a couple of times as well, because when he decided to play defense, he was the best defensive player, and he came runner-up that. I think only once, did he, or twice maybe? I'm not sure. But, the point being that we look at these, and then sometimes we just dismiss who wins them anyway to say, well, Giannis wasn't the best player last year. LeBron was, because his team went on to win the finals and he was finals MVP. What would you rather win? Would you rather be LeBron or Giannis? I think.
Well, that's a whole other argument, though, too. I mean, these are regular season
but see,
awards, and we, for some reason, can't separate the playoffs from them because you just did exactly what most people do. It's like, well, Giannis is an MVP. He bounced in the second round. Well, no. He got MVP for the regular season. It has nothing to do with the playoffs. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's why when I did that breakdown, that's why, if you look at the season in totality, obviously you'd much rather, like you think about when Dirk Nowitzki won his MVP, they got upset by the We Believe Warriors. So, what sort of a season memory would Dirk Nowitzki have? Like, oh, great, I was voted best player in the league, but then we had an embarrassing first round exit, so there's no answer to these things, because people are going to have such different interpretations of what's valuable. And then, like, is James Harden the best offensive player on a team if, they lose in the first round of the playoffs, but he puts up 40 points a game? Do people just say, well, give him an award for that? Or should it really translate into victories and wins? I mean, there's never going to be total agreement on that. And I think you're never going to get the right answer anyway.
Who would be at the top of your Offensive Player of the Year rankings right now, Trey? Like, who would be 1, 2, 3? If you can, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but who would you go?
Well, number one, Zach LaVine. JK. In the mix, I would certainly have Bradley Beal. He's leading the league in scoring. He's at about 35 per game. He's the number one guy on the Wizards. All the attention is on him. He is just an offensive player. I think the Donk would probably be in the mix, scoring close to 30 a game with 10 assists, and maybe Jokic as well. I'm just kind of looking at, the scoring and the assisting aspects of it. So maybe those three. Perhaps you're throwing Durant in the mix as well, but I would definitely think that Beal and Doncic are two guys who are not high up in the MVP racers, who would be very much higher in the OPOY.
Yeah, I think so. What's funny about this, though, is like you slipped it in there. Sometimes with Defensive Player of the Year, not every year, because Giannis is contrary to this, what I'm going to say here last year, but you sometimes with the Defensive Player of the Year go like, well, he's not that good at offense, right? Like he can focus all on defense, like Gobert and Draymond Green and stuff like that. And that actually helps their case. So would the same thing happen, like you said, Trey, for offensive players? Like it's like you're almost penalized for your chances to win this OPOY if you're like a decent defender or an above average defender. Like you're better off being Beal or something like that. So it's sort of weird in a way, but look, I'm all for another award just for us to debate it. Content, baby, content.
That's it.
I love it. I love the idea of making the case that this guy does too much defensively to win the Offensive Player of the Year. I love it. That's a a locked-in position for me. I do got a little trivia for you guys.
Okay.
I mentioned the NFL has been giving out the Offensive Player of the Year award for a long time. All of them but 2 have gone to quarterbacks and running backs, as you would expect. 2 wide receivers, though, have won NFL Offensive Player of the Year. One was Michael Thomas last year. I don't think you guys would get that. No offense.
Jerry Rice is my guess.
Boom!
Yeah.
Look at it.
Hey, I know the pigskin.
This guy's going deep for Jerry Rice. The big question, though, the big question of our lifetimes, who's the greatest receiver ever? Jerry Rice or Randy Moss? Give me Randy. You're not getting a consistent effort every single time, but the highlights are incredible. And, sometimes he'll moon the opposing fans. Good stuff.
How many bowls has he got? Is that what they call them? Bowls or rings? I don't know. Jerry Rice won. Didn't Jerry Rice win like 5 with Joe Montana?
Yeah, he won a lot. How many did Moss? How many did he won with Patriots, right?
Yeah, he might. I don't think he won a Super Bowl because I think he was on that team that went undefeated until they lost in the Super Bowl.
Ah,
wow. Oh, give me Jerry Rice then, right, Leigh?
Yeah.
Man. That's right.
Yeah, Joe Montana used to put it on a plate for Jerry. Jerry used to eat that rice up. I don't know. Is that a thing?
It is now. It is now. Before we take another break, why don't we get this Beal trade out of the way? We're talking about OPOY. Why not? He might be at the top of the leaderboard, so let's trade him. Where are we going today?
Yeah, so last night watching the Hornets and the Sixers, and the Hornets have probably outperformed expectations to this point, and largely because Gordon Hayward's been pretty good.
Yep.
So, and we know that the Hornets are not a free agent destination, even though Gordon Hayward went there, but I wouldn't say that was a big coup for them. It was like, sure, you got Gordon Hayward. So why not jump all in here if you are Michael Jordan and the Hornets and try to see if you can get hold of Bradley Beal? You should have drafted him anyway a few years ago. Took MKG instead when Beal was on the board. But, they signed Gordon Hayward to a contract offer a few years ago and eventually got him. So maybe they can get him this time. And so this is the deal. I think if you're the Hornets, Terry Rozier, who's been out the last couple of games, and LaMelo Ball's been starting, I think we know LaMelo Ball should be starting on that team.
Yeah.
So I think Rozier, a young player, he's been playing well. He's had a good season, no doubt about it. So I think he's the sort of first piece that moves. Then you've got a couple of the younger guys. Now, for this particular trade deal, I'm going with Malik Monk, who came off a career high the other night with the 9 threes. And then Devontae Graham, who's also, remember there was all-star buzz about Devontae Graham last season. Now, he hasn't quite been able to sort of stay consistent, but a young player with some upside there. And then this is the part that I think you're really going to have to entice the Wizards. 2 first-round picks. Okay, 21, 23 I've got in there for now. Now, you can maybe throw in a PJ Washington, change one of those players, but keep Rozier there because I think Rozier is probably the best player out of those 3 so far that I've mentioned. So, basically, you're getting 3 current players and then 2 first-round picks in exchange for Bradley Beal. And if you're the Hornets,
if you're the Hornets, you're doing it.
Yeah,
as always with your trade.
If
you're getting Beal, you're absolutely doing it.
Yeah, but I mean that's 5 young talented prospects, and those 2 first rounders.
I think you're trying to convince yourself with those 3 guys you got going back. Well, at least 2 of them. Devontae Graham, okay. He's still living off 1 great month in this league. I mean, good for him. He's fine. Malik Monk, just because he hit, whatever, how many threes in the night, he's basically been dead. You hadn't even heard of him. People didn't even know he's in the league. And Terry Rozier.
Leigh, you're going to be so good at Top Shot because all that matters is who played great last night. My man would be balling off the Malik Monk stock right now. You got to put at least 3 picks in any Bradley Beal.
Yes.
At least. The guy's got an extra year on his contract still. And if your team is good enough, maybe you get a year after that.
Yeah. Well, you can start with those, I think, those 3.
Okay, I don't mind something around, Terry Rozier, a PJ Washington I think would have to be included because, he's an enticing young guy that you could see the Wizards sort of being interested in. And then, like Trey said, 1 million picks, and then we're still not probably even done. So, yeah. But yeah, the Hornets getting Beal. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
He could have drafted him.
Jets, I know.
Oh, man, that's crazy to think of. MKG was a hyped prospect too. That was kind of like, oh man, it's too bad you didn't get Anthony Davis. That's a real franchise changer, but at least you lucked into MKG.
Right. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Okay. I love it. I still love these. I don't care what people say. I love hearing what you come up with.
I've just been hitting the mute button lately for listen, I will say this. If you don't like the trade, it's fine. You don't have to like it. But don't just say, hey, that trade sucks. Come back with one. Come back with one. Okay?
Okay.
Come back with one. That's all.
That's a sly way for Leo is to say, hey, just do my work for me.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying come back with a counter trade from the Hornets then. And because people, you suck at this. This is awful. Okay, you show me the deal then. And then all of a sudden they go quiet.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Beal, you order the Hornets. You heard it here first. Love it. Let's take one more break, and then we'll get to tweet of the night and all that. Leigh, what do you got?
This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. And guys, as much as things change, one thing has stayed the same, and that is that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Mm-hmm. And breakfast has got a pretty good scam going, because you can overeat at breakfast and you've got all day to work it off and to recover. You can't always do that with lunch. You certainly can't do that with dinner. Remember when we used to go to Vegas and have a big meal on that first night? First night in bed was awful. Couldn't sleep, big, heavy belly. Partly the travel. There's a bit of booze in there as well. But
I was going to say you're drinking whatever JD was ordering.
Oh, yeah. We had some fun nights there. But I honestly put down the restlessness of sleep down to just so much food because we used to eat out pretty well that first night. Everyone was excited the first night in Vegas. The last night we were ready to kill each other. But that first night, it's great. We're having a ball. Anyway, no such concerns there with breakfast, especially with Magic Spoon cereals, because listen to this: 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. And a lot of people have asked, and now you can actually build your own custom variety box. So you can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, blueberry flavors, plus brand new flavors. Peanut butter, always a hit, and cinnamon. The best one by far. Cinnamon is fantastic. Yes. Tastes amazing.
Spices. I agree, mate.
Oh, yeah. I love cinnamon. Cinnamon's just the best. Anyway, it tastes amazing. It's too good to be true. This is not just the sugar-free, but listen to this. Keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Mm-hmm. Very, very good for you. So go to magicspoon.com/nodunks to grab a variety pack and try it today, and be sure to use our promo code NODUNKS at checkout to save $5 off your order. My favorite part, you know what it is, Skeetsy? Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was reading Michael J. Fox's book. It's more than 45 pages. Yeah. And he went on a trip to the Kingdom of Bhutan, which is a landlocked country in the eastern Himalayas. And they have a gross national happiness index. They try to ensure their people are happy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what are they doing? All eating Magic Spoon over there?
Maybe they are. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. They're often ranked high in the happiest country survey in the world, in the happiest country in Asia. They rank a little bit lower in the actual world thing, but overall, I think they're doing pretty well.
Okay.
Anyway, I will say I did miss the news that Michael J. Fox had taken a trip to Bhutan.
Yeah, well, it was a long time ago.
Got the book right there. He's got the page.
Yeah, I've got it here. It says here, Bhutan is the only country known to measure happiness by this metric. Key to this concept, its parliament is determined to preserve the nation's traditional culture and identity and to avoid destruction of the environment. So, they've got the right idea there.
Yeah. And they're landlocked too. I mean, you can feel claustrophobic landlocked. Yeah.
Apparently, the airport's one of those tricky ones that's a little bit scary to land in. But anyway, I haven't been. Love to go. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to Magic Spoon cereals. If you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/nodunks and use that code NODUNKS to save $5 off. We thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
Absolutely. Too often, guys, we're choosing between quality or a fair price. Take dog food, for example, okay? You can buy a giant bag of dog food for a cheap price, right? But then you start looking at the ingredients, and it's like corn and sawdust. It's like, what? I'm not feeding that crap to Luna, right? So then you start looking around. You're at the local pet store down the street. You're talking to the lady with that one cat that just goes wherever the hell it wants in the store. You know what I'm talking about? And sure enough, there's some high-quality stuff there. dehydrated beef, legumes, fresh organic blueberries, things like this. But this stuff costs like $80 a bag. It's ridiculous. It's insane. That's too much. I love my dog. That's too much. But it's quality or a fair price. Harry's, you don't have to choose. That's right. They give you award-winning blades at factory direct prices. Quality and a fair price. Gotta love that. So why Harry's? Well, one, Dave DeFore uses it. Has for years. Same with Lee Ellis, as we learned. Right, Lee? Big hairy guy.
Got the blade still right here.
Okay. Do you just have everything like within arm's reach?
Amazing. You want to open a pack of cards? Hey, you want to watch my wedding video with my wife? Hey, you want to buy some No Dogs products?
Okay, Harry's delivers a close, comfortable shave at a fair price. Only $2 per refill, Leigh. Harry's believes in quality so much that they bought their own factory in Germany so they could own every step of the manufacturing process. That's like a baller move right there.
That is baller.
Buy this factory in Germany, make these Gothic arches, make the best damn blades you could possibly make. And yeah, we got the factory. It's right there. It's incredible. So guys, let's make this happen. For a limited time, Harry's has an exclusive offer for listeners of the show. New customers can get a Harry's starters set and a free body wash for just $3 at harrys.com/no-dunks. That's over $16 value for $3. You get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, a travel cover, and a travel-sized body wash. That's a great deal right there. But you got to act fast while supplies last. So go to harrys.com/no-dunks to redeem your offer. Man, Leigh, I'd love to fire up that wedding DVD you got there. I'm not going to lie.
This is a pretty good tagline from Josh Hall in the stream team who says, "Say I do to Harry's."
Oh, excellent. Look at that. Man, how long is that?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Have you ever watched it?
Not really. It's actually, it's one of the hardest things to watch. You
think one of the worst days of your life.
Well, right? You think it's going to be great, but we didn't have an official like a videographer or anything like that. We just had people like shooting stuff on their phones, and I guess one guy, one of our family friends did have a video camera, but it wasn't like we were like, "Hey, can you shoot for us?" He was just shooting, and then we compiled it later on. So
that's just like basically a bootleg DVD.
Yeah. Well, someone edited it and put it together to make some sort of sense, but. Yeah, it's just, they're not fun to watch. If you watch anyone else's, they're really not that fun.
No, that's what I mean. We've talked about this before. It's like one of those things that they sort of, I think Trey's talked about it before. How many like getting the video, you splurge for the video package because you're like, I guess, I don't know. We want to have
sort
this.
Of think you have to,
Yeah, we have the big, fancy album that we look at once every 10 years. But I kind of wish I did have the DVD. I'm sure I wouldn't watch it, but I would love to go back and, see what the dance moves look like, to see how much fun people were having. I don't know, every 20 years, pop it in. The problem will be having a DVD player 20 years later and actually being able to play it. But, oh, man, I love having a memory.
Oh, man.
I got a DVD player.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That's incredible. You have everything right there at your fingertips.
Hey, Skeetsy, who was one of the most your favorite players to watch? Really exciting small player in the NBA in the 90s.
Nick Van Exel.
No, but kind of like him, but he used to get up for some big dogs.
Robert
Pack.
There you go. Look at that.
This guy's a human NBA top shot. I'll give you $5 for that. No, you know what we should do though? Commentary on your video, Leigh. We should fire it up here on YouTube. We just watch it together and literally like you can tell us what's going on, just like try and decide, make sense of it.
Yeah.
What do you think? No? Director's commentary?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone would want to watch it. It's just people
would.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
The cover alone has me. Can you hold it up one more time? Just go to him, JD. Yeah. I mean, look like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it.
18th of August, 2007. Why are you dipping into this now, mate? I don't want to spoil a Valentine's Day surprise. I know we just did the Roman ad read a little bit ago, but
so I've moved rooms. I was downstairs in the basement. Now I'm up in my son's room, and we've just kind of like moved stuff around lately. And there's all sorts of junk just around here, and I don't know why specifically that was out. I know I had the DVD player out because I was looking at some old photos here that I've got, like some of my old trips on the discs and stuff like that.
Oh, were those photos you shared today on your
some of them,
Instagram? You and the do-rag in Barbados?
Yeah, let me see what this one's New York City with Plugger. This is
yeah.
When we went to New York. What else we got here? What else?
It actually says NYC with Plugger.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
this one, I've got a little label in here. What's this? Oh, that's England 2005.
Okay, I have loved seeing this right now because it explains how you're able to find every picture. We're like, okay, where were you? March 26, 2006. I was playing pickup basketball. And makes sense when you have everything labeled. Smart stuff.
Russia.
There's my trip to Russia.
Oh my goodness.
That's one thing about, when we do step on the beach, like, when you talk about stuff, you're like, I wonder if I've got a photo of that,
The answer is you do.
Everything. Yeah, but I seem to be missing. I seem to be missing some as well. There's Beirut. That was a great trip, I tell you. That was awesome.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's get to tweet of the
night. Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Oh man, so good. What do you got, Trey?
Oh, all I wish is that I had a CD-ROM that said Russia in all caps. That's awesome. That's just great, man. Oh, I love it. Today's tweet of the night comes from this morning. Ryan Coltonbaugh, a longtime listener, longtime watcher, sent in a tweet this morning saying, "This is Trey Kirby as a weatherman." So Trey is back. Y'all heard about this? But it's true. I love saying things are back. Have since the starters. I went back, started thinking about it. First time I said something was back, 2013-14 season. That's a long time ago. Derrick Rose had missed the year before. He had 20 on 7 of 16 shooting in a win against the undefeated Pacers on November 16th, 2013. Here, I have a CD-ROM from that. Derrick Rose. The Bulls beat Paul George and the Pacers. I remember saying that night, Derrick Rose is back! A couple of nights later, Derrick Rose suffered another injury against the Portland Trail Blazers, and it was from then until this year, until the Bulls finally came back. Lots of things have come back so far this year. The Bulls, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Hornets, big men, rebounding, trading cards, CD-ROMs for your wedding videos, tucked in t-shirts, berets, puka shell necklaces. I would love to see a supercut of things that I've said are back at the end of the year so we can see if they're actually still back.
Wow.
But for today, sunshine is back. Not in Atlanta, no, but somewhere out there. Sunshine is back.
Awesome. Great tweet there, Ryan. Great stuff. Let's get to pick 'em results. You said a couple of those teams that were back there, the Knicks and the Bulls. This is the Who's Most Back Bowl 2, right? Because this is the old baseball series. Bulls took game 1, but the Knicks got it done last night. They obviously covered because they won outright. That was the money line hit. I swerved. J.E. Swerves has done it again, so I get the victory. I'm 2-1 taking the Knicks. Great first quarter from the Knicks, and they held on. I think the Bulls went on like a 20-5 run. It got a little interesting there at the end in the fourth quarter. But another loss for Leigh and Trey. You guys are 0-for still. Looking for that first W here in February. You're 0-for-3. Tass is 1-2. And Tass, by the way, is paying off his last month's loss on Friday's show. We got something in store. I don't know. Is that the plan? No one tells me. Anyway, I think that's the plan. Because then you guys were talking about doing something else. Anyway, we'll get to it. Tonight's game, though, 5 games on. Really good schedule. Okay, we got the TNT doubleheader, Warriors Mavericks. We will be jumping on at halftime to do NBA happy hour, maybe watching Leigh's wedding DVD, and Nuggets Lakers is the late game. But the game we're picking from, Rockets Grizzlies, small line, Memphis favored by 1.5 at home. Leigh, we'll go to you first. Do you like the Grizzlies to bounce back after a rough loss to, I think, the Pacers they last played? Or the Rockets looking to bounce back too? They got hammered by the Thunder
Yeah.
What do you got?
No John Wall last night, and I think he was being rested. But then maybe Oladipo's out tonight. A really tough one there. The Rockets had been playing good basketball before that. 1.5 points, did you say, for Memphis?
Yep. Memphis has to win by 2.
Give me the Rockets.
Oh, wow. Okay. Going with the Rockets. Trey, where are you leaning?
I'll flip the script on Leigh. Give me the Grizzlies. Both teams are on their third game in 4 nights, but it's a back-to-back for the Rockets. John Wall obviously didn't play, so maybe he's still rested. But yeah, give me the Grizzlies. Somebody will be at the bottom of these standings tomorrow.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with Trey. I'm going to also go with the Grizzlies to win this close line here. I'll take Memphis -1.5. Let's find out who Tess has.
Crazy that the Rockets had a recent 6-game win streak and the Grizzlies had a recent 7-game win streak, isn't it? Isn't it, guys? Don't you think? I'm taking Memphis.
Oh, so there you go, Leigh. Will the swerve continue? It's been hot in February. You're the only one.
That makes me think, though, it's due for
no, you got to run with it. Okay, I think you're in the line to win tonight. You're the only one taking Houston. Everybody else has Memphis. All right. Fun show. Shout out to the stream team. Thanks so much for some of your hilarious comments. Email your NBA questions and your comments in for our next Beach Steppin' podcast. We dropped one yesterday. If you haven't listened to that already, go back, have some laughs. Fun show. Grab your No Dunks merch at nodunks.com. You guys know that. Subscribe to The Athletic already. theathletic.com/nodunks. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. We'll have whoopsies dropping later today, because it is Thursday. That's a staple on Thursday for us. We got the Drop podcast, of course, on Friday. And tonight, said it a couple times now, it's our second NBA Happy Hour watch party. We will be jumping on around halftime of the Warriors-Mavericks game, and we might have a guest in store. So join us live as we just hang and sort of watch the game and sort of talk about life and have a drink, kick back. It's super casual. Super casual. You're going to wear a robe tonight? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. And like I said,
do you have a Snuggie?
I don't have a Snuggie. I would like a Snuggie. I do have a very furry fleece I could wear, but I'm thinking I'm going to wear Laura's robe, to be honest. I was telling you yesterday that mine it's just not aesthetically that pleasing. Yeah. It's a little schlumpy, a little too cash. But if I show up in a fleece teal polka dot robe,
wow,
that's casual, my friend.
Wow,
that's casual.
We're gonna get No Dunks robes. That's the next merchandise for us, I think.
Robes. I think bucket hats are in play here. Yeah, we got a lot to work on. Leigh, are you joining us tonight at some point?
I'll be there at some point after books. Yeah.
All right, after books. All right. What are you reading? Michael J. Fox? For the kids?
No.
The Bhutan Happiness Index.
The Bhutan Happiness. You want to hear a little bit more about it? Or what?
No. Just save it for tonight. All right, save it for tonight. You find the right chapter, the right page you want to read to us tonight on NBA Happy Hour. Okay.
You know, they had a ban on internet and television up until 1999. Did you know
Clipper
that?
Bros?
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Leigh is right. We ate some huge meals in Vegas. Still trying to get our subs up. Join us on YouTube tonight.
Embrace the day, people.
You could stay